This is an open tag by Big J's Knives. It's a follow-up to show your 10 USA-made Stockmans. This one is on 10 USA-made Lockbacks. First, let's start with this case copper lock. This one has a Warren-Cliff blade. It's in carbon steel. These are just beautiful knives. I know a lot of people in the community have these knives, and everyone that I've seen absolutely loves these knives. Next is an old timer. This is from their new USA made line. This is the 5 OTG. It's a small lockback. This knife is pretty much like a sod buster, except a locking version of one. This is in 1095 carbon steel. Next is a case mini copper lock. This is also in carbon steel, and it has a beautiful kind of like a mahogany walnut bone. This is just a beautiful series. And we have another case copper lock. This one is in true sharp. Matter of fact, these two knives I got cheap off of eBay. They both needed work. The pivots were loose. The blades had a lot of wobble in it. The centering wasn't right. I cleaned these up, reprofiled the edges, straightened them out, and they're just beautiful knives now. As you can see, the centering's not bad. If I go through and look at most of these, they're pretty good. That one's not bad. The old timer's off a little bit to the right there, but it doesn't rub. It's still okay. This one's a little bit to the left, but again, it's not close to even rubbing. Then we move on to the mini copper lock. Centering's pretty good on it. This is also in true sharp. I didn't try and get a matching pair. It just happened to work out accidentally that these are a perfect match for each other. Now let's move on to the bucks. This is my old Buck 110. I bought this probably 84, 85, something like that. This is one of the 4.110s. So pretty nice knife. This knife has been with me through a lot of years, and I've done a lot of stuff with this knife. So this goes back to when I was a teenager. It's probably the first actual really good knife that I ever owned. Next is the Buck 112 Ranger in Honduran rosewood. You see the 112 USA, and this one's in Magna Cut. They just had a stealth drop a couple weeks ago, and I was lucky enough to snag one of these. This one is the 112 Slim Select. I replaced the pocket clip on it because I couldn't stand the one that was on there. It was very functional. It worked great, but it was ugly. So you see Buck USA. These are nice. They're slim, they're lightweight. You've got a thumb stud on there for easy open with Buck's lockback. This one is a Buck 500 Duke. And I want to show this one a little closer because I know Jersey Knife Guy has had some problems with these 500 Dukes. So as you can see there, the construction is pretty good. Maybe just a hairline of a gap here. That's not really a gap. It's more, I can feel it with my thumb. It's more of a little ridge there. But it's to be expected since it's a lockback. That's not going to be absolutely 100% perfect. Blade centered nicely. Everything is finished pretty good. Right here on the end, you can see that's on just a slight angle. That's not perfect. Lock is good. You don't have any play on this knife. There you go, 500 USA. That's the Buck 500 Duke. I don't know whatever happened to my original one, but one of these 500 Dukes is probably the second good knife that I've owned. I bought that as a little bit smaller version of the 110. And then lastly, this is a Buck US S30V. It's from the custom shop. I believe this was the 501 Squire. I'll have to double check that. I'm not 100% sure. There's the orange bone. Nice S30V drop point blade. This one's just beautifully built. See, everything is rounded over and is smoothed out quite nicely. Close the blade. You can see the pins and you feel a little bump there, but there's no catch. Everything is perfectly smooth. That's kind of one of the strange things that I've seen about some of these knives that have come out of the Buck Custom Shop. These rear pins are the same way. Does anybody else have knives that are finished like that? They leave the pins just slightly proud, but the edges of the pins are flush. That you just see the little bit of protrusion in the center where they've rounded them off. But everything else is nice and smooth. So this is a very nice knife. And that's it for my 10 US made Lockback knives. We'll see you on the next one.